Fancy dresses, gorgeous filming locations, and one of the most attractive casts that we've ever seen on television. Bridgerton seems to have it all. Well, for some, specifically the cast, this isn't always the case, especially when it comes to their wardrobe. In this video, we're going to take a look at some of the costume challenges that the actors of the beloved Regency show have had to face as they film one of the most entertaining series ever. First up, remind us, was it Bridgerton or Bridgerton? We're sorry for the terrible pun, but in our defense, we weren't the ones that came up with it. Instead, the credits belong to the actress who plays the beloved Penelope Featherington, or as we later discover, Lady Whistledown. Nicola Coughlan of Dairy Girls and Bridgerton fame is the victim of this brutal tan, one that she showcased through the social media platform Instagram with the cheeky caption, "And so, the Bridgerton returns." The asterisk pointed to a clarification which explained the infamous tan as something that occurs when one wears a Regency dress. To add to our imagination, Coughlan posted a photo along with this caption that showed a bright red neck and cleavage that stood in dark comparison with her normal pale skin. Ouch, that must be painful to deal with. Might we suggest a good sunscreen that she would reapply every couple of hours? So you might ask, why does Coughlan suffer from such a painful tan? Well, good question. Apart from the fact that it appears as though she has no access to sunscreen, anyone who has seen Bridgerton or is vaguely familiar with the neckline of a Regency costume will figure out that cleavage up, the actor is exposed to sunlight through long and arduous hours of filming. Plus, we think this says a lot about climate change and how the intensity and UV quality of the sun have increased over the years thanks to global warming. It's hard not to make this about the climate when she's literally getting sunburned because of sun exposure with a lack of safety tools in place to protect her. Also, let's discuss how Nicola Coughlan isn't the only one suffering because of the Bridgerton costumes. Okay, so this is clearly a trend because the show is infamous for not knowing how to use corsets properly. We remember back in season 1, the cast would complain about how painful it was for them to wear their heavy Regency-style dresses along with a tight corset underneath. Vivi Dinevor even said that her corset left bruises all over her body. Well, this trend apparently continued into the second season with Simone Ashley, the main darling of the show, voicing similar complaints. According to Ashley, who played Kate Sharma, her corset prevented her from eating, and it was laced so tightly that she had to get help from the crew to get in and out of her costumes. To make matters worse, when she did eat, she felt sick because the corset was laced way too tight, constricting her breathing and forcing her body into unnatural shapes. In fact, she even shared in an interview that wearing her corset made her waist smaller, contorting her body into a more petite frame. And when it was removed, everything would come back to normal. There are a lot of unhealthy implications behind this. Not only does it promote an unhealthy and distorted body image, but according to fashion and dress experts everywhere, wearing a corset should not be this painful or unpleasant. In fact, it should be quite comfortable, almost like wearing a more breathable version of shapewear. We think that the Bridgerton costuming department needs to get some experts on board as soon as possible. The actors are quite literally in misery. Next, let's look at how the men are struggling with costume mishaps. This one's a bit embarrassing, so listen at your own risk. The dashing and brooding Anthony Bridgerton is not as perfect as we might think. He, too, has had his fair share of wardrobe malfunctions. According to the actor Jonathan Bailey, who plays the resident rake of the ton in the Regency series, when he was filming an action sequence with his brother, things got out of hand, again, thanks to the quality of the costumes. Honestly, we don't know what's going on in the costuming department, but anyway, imagine this scene. He's wearing a tight fencing costume, and both actors are wearing plimsolls or rubber-soled sneakers on wet, dewy grass. And just as he moves in for the final lunge at his brother, rip. Thanks to that exciting move, the crotch of Bailey's costume completely rips, and everything that he doesn't want to be shown as well, shown to a cast and crew of nearly 400 people. Understandably so, he's super embarrassed, and according to him, he screams loudly. Thankfully though, camera and editing magic join forces, and the final cut, the one that we saw, shows nothing of this unfortunate mishap, and Bailey gets off scot-free. That is, if you don't count the hundreds of people he accidentally flashed while shooting the scene. Next up, let's talk about how no one on the show is safe from wardrobe struggles. It seems like the cast of Bridgerton just can't seem to catch a break with their wardrobes. This time around, the victim of the wardrobe department is Lady Portia Featherington, played by Polly Walker. Love her or hate her, you have to admit that her wardrobe is something to talk about. Its loud colors and garish prints are as essential to the creation of Portia Featherington as Polly Walker's impressive acting as an overconfident matriarch. We don't know how anyone else feels, but by the end of season 2, we were super impressed with the way the girl bossed her way through the complicated situation her family had been put in, proving to everyone that she is not someone who will be bossed around, especially not by a man. If that didn't make you more sympathetic towards her, perhaps the wardrobe struggles the actor had to go through will soften your heart. In a recent interview, Polly Walker admitted what, by now, all of us safely assumed. Her costumes are not comfortable at all, and on top of that, her massive wardrobe can be a lot to handle. To make matters worse, the small things like the elastic on her tights don't hold up very well, and that caused them to roll down her legs as they used to when we were children. Regardless of the mishaps, Walker is super gracious of the opportunity to be a part of such a monumental experience, brushing off these inconveniences as bumps in the road for participating in a good cause. Talk about having a positive outlook. And now let's look at how the Queen also falls into the clutches of the wardrobe department. Queen Charlotte is one of our favorite characters on the show. From her wit to her wildly extravagant hairstyles, we have a lot to love about her. But things aren't a smooth sailing for Golda Rosheuvel, the actor who brings the character of Queen Charlotte to life. Looking that effortless on screen requires rocky levels of commitment and preparation. In the same vein as her acting contemporary, Polly Walker, Rosheuvel is also super grateful for the opportunities afforded to her by being a part of Bridgerton, but the effort that goes into getting into character is eye-watering. We don't think we'd ever be able to commit to a bit that seriously. According to Rosheuvel, she's double corseted, and that means that not only does she need to work out 3 times a week, but she also needs to keep building and maintaining her stamina to wear those outfits by drinking lots of water and eating like she's preparing for a sporting event to keep her energy levels up. One would assume that her recovery days would be marked out as serious chill days, but unfortunately, that isn't the case. She needs to really take stock of her body on those days and make sure that she's in fighting spirit when her shoot days come up again. In her own words, she needs to be a match fit. And finally, let's take a look at the surprising opinion of one cast member regarding the clothes. Brace yourselves for this one because, contrary to what her cast members might think, Claudia Jessie or Eloise Bridgerton actually think that the costumes are pretty comfortable. Wait, what? We know, we were super surprised too, considering how nearly every cast member is famous for hating on the corsets of the show. True to her character, Jessie goes against the vein, confessing in an interview that she actually thinks that the Regency-style dresses are pretty freeing. So maybe she's one of the lucky ones who doesn't need to wear a corset. We're kinda happy for her, LMAO. At least someone doesn't have to struggle. According to the actress, the only annoying bit is when nature calls and she needs to go to the toilet because that process involves taking off her Spanx tights and mic pack that are strapped securely onto her thigh. Talk about first world struggles, especially when compared to the rest of the cast problems with their wardrobe. That's a wrap for this video. What was the most surprising and painful costume challenge? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.